Israel-Gaza Iran War News Live Update. During their politically charged state visit, Biden and Macron will talk about Israel and Ukraine. During a state visit characterized by pomp and circumstance and discussions on trade, Israel, and Ukraine, French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed U.S. President Joe Biden to Paris on Saturday. Macron was fresh from commemorating the 80th anniversary of D-Day. During the first part of their tour, the leaders gathered at the famous Arc de Triomphe for a ceremony. There, they paid their respects at the tomb of the unknown soldier, while a huge French flag fluttering in the wind carried them overhead. Leaders from both nations, along with their spouses, welcomed veterans of the armed forces who had gathered to pay their respects. The leaders, accompanied by mounted French guards, rode along the famous Avenue de Champs-Élysées in the capital before making their way to the presidential residence at the Élysée to have a dinner and debate policy. Featured article logo, keep reading. Even though they had a tense history due to a submarine agreement with Australia, the two men are now quite close. During Macron's state visit to the White House in 2022, Biden graciously received him. We have long-standing and very loyal supporters in France. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told reporters earlier this week that this will be a significant time to underline the alliance and also look forward to what the two countries can do together. According to Sullivan, the two leaders will discuss a wide range of topics during their meeting, including the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza, collaboration in the Indo-Pacific region, and climate change, artificial intelligence, and supply chains, among others. According to White House spokesman John Kirby, the nations will be discussing ways to enhance cooperation between the French Navy and the United States Coast Guard, and they will also be announcing a plan to collaborate on maritime law enforcement. Also on the agenda for Biden and Macron's meeting is the expected discussion of ways to fortify NATO. Both presidents have expressed their nation's solidarity with Ukraine, but they have not yet settled on a strategy to free frozen Russian assets to aid Kyiv. The U.S. and its G7 allies are making headway on that, according to a U.S. Treasury official who made the announcement on Tuesday. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine spoke to the French National Assembly on Friday, and Vice President Joe Biden met with him in Paris on Friday to express his regret that the United States Congress had taken months to approve the most recent aid package. On Thursday, the anniversary of the joint invasion against Nazi German occupiers on French beaches in World War II, Biden urged Western nations to remain steadfast with Ukraine during a speech at the American Cemetery in Normandy, SP. Regarding the Middle Eastern crisis, Biden and Macron will also confer. As Israel pursues Hamas following its October offensive, Biden has been an unwavering ally of the Jewish state. However, the tens of thousands of Palestinian casualties have turned Biden's left-leaning electoral base against Israel, which will cost him in his re-election campaign against Republican Donald Trump in November. Trade disputes between the two coasts of the Atlantic are likely to take center stage, even after Ukraine. European authorities are furious with the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, which Biden signed into law in August 2022. They perceive it as a protectionist measure that will discourage investments from EU enterprises. At a time when Washington is looking for partners against China and both sides are confronting Russia, Macron warned during his 2022 state visit to Washington that the subsidy plan could divide the West and undermine the post-COVID European recovery.